So we are in a season that we are calling Celebrate Everything. Celebrate Everything. Reverend Karen kicked it off last week when we finished our stewardship month. And we are going to celebrate absolutely everything all the way through the end of the year. You in?
Yes.
Fantastic. So the vast majority of people who consider New Vision Center home or friend are based at least partially here in the United States. And if you are present to what is happening in the United States, or frankly what has happened so far in the service, you will be aware that it is election week. And yeah, somebody's clapping. Let's clap for elections. Not everybody gets them, right? We're honored and lucky to live in a country that is founded on democratic values. And it's a big week, especially every 4 years, we have a big election where we are going to vote for a new president. And in this case, no matter what, it's a new president because we don't have an incumbent running. And senators and House of Representatives and tons of local elections. So when I think about elections and why they matter to me, the first thing that pops up is freedom. So today, we're celebrating freedom and what that really means. So there's a definition that pops to mind, right? When we think about freedom, we think we get to have elections, we choose our officials, we have rights, and that is all awesome. And we have jumped 17 steps ahead of the queue when we go to that definition of freedom. Because in Science of Mind, and in case this is new news to you, this is a center that is based in Science of Mind, the philosophy and the way of life that is new thought and affirmative. So in Science of Mind, we treat freedom as a God quality, as a spiritual quality, and as a birthright. You might have heard Reverend Karen or myself, or frankly, any minister, practitioner, or serious student of Science of Mind say, freedom is my birthright. What on earth does that mean? Freedom is my birthright. It's more than just, I was born on U.S. soil. I was born in Des Moines, Iowa in 1975. And because of that, I get to live in a free country, which, good choice, Mom and Dad. And freedom is far more fundamental than a country you live in, or an action you take, or a choice that you make, or the right to do a thing or not do a thing. Freedom is, in Science of Mind, my favorite definition is this one. Freedom is the divine quality present in an individual when every divine quality is present, active, and in balance. Take a moment and feel within what it would feel like if love and harmony and joy and ease and wholeness and flow and beauty were all active in your beingness, called up powerfully and in balance. That feeling you're imagining, that is freedom. That is freedom. That's why freedom is worth fighting for, worth claiming, worth owning, worth demanding. That's why people all over this planet have risen up to declare their own freedom. It's the freedom from discord of any nature. That's a promise Ernest Holmes wrote for us in his What We Believe statements, that the purpose of life, the ultimate outcome of life, is freedom from discord of any nature, and that it is sure to be attained by everyone. Freedom from being held back, freedom from being harmed, freedom from being dismissed, freedom from being less than. But it's also freedom to express, freedom to be who you are, freedom to live your values, freedom to claim out loud who you love, what you think matters. So it's essential, it's at the core of this teaching, of this way of spirituality that we call Science of Mind. And what an awesome opportunity to get to really dig in and own what freedom is. I have a whole bunch of Ernest Holmes quotes today. Because when I think of freedom, I really came to have a wildly different understanding of what freedom meant through reading the writings of Ernest Holmes. And here's the thing that he said about this whole freedom is my birthright idea. The true concept of freedom is that there is enough to go around, since good is universal. But my freedom cannot infringe on yours, or yours on mine. The good we wish to experience and enjoy, which makes for a betterment of circumstances, better health, more love and friendship and human interest, is a divine inheritance. Is anybody up for a betterment of circumstances, better health, more love, friendship, and human interest? Yes. Yeah. Yes, please. Yes, please. But here's the deal. So freedom is our birthright. It is literally everywhere. But we have to claim it through understanding. We have to claim it in consciousness by understanding that it is not a thing to achieve. It is a divine quality that is everywhere, but we have to unlock it. We have to unlock it. We can come to claim it in our inner life through understanding, through study, through, I hate to say it, but y'all know the answer, through daily substantial spiritual practice. New folks, you'll learn that soon. I say it a lot. We claim it through a change in our consciousness that moves from, I would like to experience freedom, to freedom is undeniable in my beingness, even independent of circumstances. So take a breath if that's a hard one. It wouldn't be me up here if there wasn't at least one difficult truth. It's my rule when I'm writing a talk. In order to really live out freedom, though, we have to take it from a place of consciousness into a place of action. And the first place we do that is through choice. So one of the ways we can shortcut to what is freedom in my life is the phrase, I am always at choice. Have you guys heard that one? I am always at choice. And I very, very vividly remember when this truth came home to roost for me. So I've probably shared this story, but I'll share it again. I was in, I think, Prac 1 training, and Thanksgiving was coming up. And I wanted to come to the MVC Thanksgiving potluck. That's what I wanted to do for Thanksgiving. And my mom was doing a big Thanksgiving thing, and I said something to the effect of, oh, I wish I could come to the MVC thing, but I have to go to my mom's. And a minister or practitioner said, you have to go to your mom's? Oh yeah, I have to go to my mom's. You don't know how my mom is. It will be a thing if I don't go to my mom's. You have to go to your mom's. I have to go to my mom's. Do you? Well, yeah. Otherwise, the blowback is going to be, shall we say, unpleasant? And she just kept letting me talk in this circle until I realized, oh, I know the pros and cons of each option, and I'm choosing to go to my mom's. I'm choosing to do this action instead of that action because I don't wish to experience the blowback. I'm choosing. And that quickly became, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do anything. Now, I like food, so I choose to work. I like my house, so I choose to pay my mortgage. I like my husband, so I choose to be married to him. I like my elevated consciousness, so I choose to do my daily substantial spiritual practice, without which you might not want to know me so much. Yeah. You don't become the person that says that over and over without being the person that isn't as nice without it. I think that's a fair thing to say. We are always at choice. That is freedom in action on the inside of ourselves. We are always at choice. But it doesn't always feel that way, does it? It doesn't always feel that way. Sometimes it feels like we are stuck, squashed, no options, or the options that we think we see are so onerous, so upsetting, not anything like a Thanksgiving with my mother, which turned out lovely, of course, because of course it did. So awful to our mind that we feel stuck. Remember a few weeks ago when we were talking about the sliding scales of experience, how sometimes we're experiencing a change that's really positive, and then sometimes we'll see something that feels like the opposite? Hold that thought. So another thought from Ernest here is that freedom and bondage, freedom and stuckness, are merely two ways of expressing a limitless possibility. They're two sides of the same coin. So moving it into how we talked about this the other week, we've got a slider. Feeling stuck is a sign that you're becoming aware of freedom as a true possibility for you. Oh. Because we can't feel one side of that spectrum if the spectrum isn't available to us. So when we get that feeling of discontent or frustration or what I like to call it's a sign that our consciousness has opened up to an extent that we can really grasp on a cellular level that freedom is a thing and I can have it. And I want it. We want it, don't we? To feel like we are fully at choice in every area of our life. Oh, it's the most delicious, delightful thing. Freedom and bondage are two sides of the same spectrum in the same way that water and ice are the same thing. Think about that. As is water vapor, as is steam. It's all the same substance, but because on the material level we experience it so differently, we have a tendency to think of them as separate entities. But freedom and choice and stuckness and inability to make a choice or to see the choice ahead, they're all part of the same thing. So when we feel that stuckness, the invitation is to rest in it and soften it. And soften it. See, when we push against, what are we doing? We're hardening the walls around us. Like if we dug a hole and we got down in it and we pushed and pushed, we'd be compacting that dirt, right? What we want to do is let the flow happen. Because we don't have to make freedom happen. We don't have to manufacture it. We don't have to force it. It's everywhere. It's in the very air. It's in your DNA. It's everywhere. But we do have to claim it. Acknowledging that we're at choice and using that choice is the first meaningful way of utilizing that freedom in our lives, of creating that space for ourselves. When we recognize choice, freedom becomes visible. And as Reverend Dr. Michelle Medrano likes to say, if I can see it, I can have it. We don't see things that aren't for us. Ladies, ever sat in a bar and whined about how there are no good men? Just me? In a room full of men, surely one of them's good. But when we are stuck on a thought, when we are holding tight-knuckled grip to the way we insist the world is, that is all we see. But if we can open up, there's a little tiny door here on the side of your brain. If you can open that up, just a little crack, and let in the whisper of, but maybe there's something else. Maybe there's something more. And we rest into that, the choices begin to become apparent. So once we've anchored there, all right, freedom is visible. I can spy it over the hedge. That lady over there has it. I can see it. It's possible for me. Then we move into action. Because that's what it really takes. To experience freedom is to choose to experience freedom out loud in our physical activity. What does that look like? It looks like being really clear what your values are. Not my values, not Science of Mind values, yours. Yours, 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 yours. What are your values? And then acting from that place. This is true in spiritual community. If you value Munch and Mingle, are you on the Munch and Mingle team? If you think it's essential that New Vision Center has a youth and family program, how are you supporting it? If you think there should be choir, are you in it? Are you making the space for it? Oh, I know it takes time. 3-4 Wednesday nights in a row, man. No one's more busy than I am. I hear you. But I'm in the choir because I want a choir. Are you walking out your choices? All these little choices. Being in choir for Christmas, it's a little choice. Are you acting from that choice? Are you acting from that place? Ernest Holmes said this: real freedom means that humanity is created in the image of perfection and let alone to make that discovery for ourselves. We get to decide. Freedom of will means the ability to do, say, and think as one wishes, to express life as one personally desires. Living freedom creates an atmosphere of freedom for everyone. When you see somebody be vulnerable, doesn't it give you permission to be vulnerable? When you see someone be brave, doesn't it call you to be courageous in your life? When you see someone live from choice powerfully and activate their own freedom, it invites everyone into that expression. Every single one of us. And so, do it. Do it. Vote. Advocate. Show up. Join a team. Make a thing. Create a possibility. Invite people in. Take a stand. Be willing to be seen. This is how freedom is. It is not a passive, receptive process. It is as active as love or wholeness or any other quality. It can be all around us, and it is, but if we don't claim it and do something with it, it is meaningless. And in this country, in this week, in this moment in time, it means if voting is something you value, show up and do it. Science of Mind will never tell you what to think. It will never tell you who to vote for, nor will I. It's none of my business. But I will tell you to do it, because it is the most visible, physical, visceral claiming of our freedom that we can possibly do. And every single human being who says yes to that level of choice, to the dream of a group of men and probably women, but they got left out of the story, who came together and said, there's got to be a way to do this better, to not have a king or a queen, but to create our own society. To say yes to that dream of all the people that have came since who've said, we can do better than that. We can do better than that. We can let more people in. We can love more people. We can listen to more people. And there's more to go. To be a yes to being part of that wide openness is being freedom in action. This was the prayer of Ernest Holmes. This was the prayer of every soldier who's ever fought for this country. This is my prayer today, that you use this freedom that has been given to you so gracefully by the divine to show up powerfully as who you are according to your values. final thought from Ernest. He was very noisy this week in my ear. He said, we should learn to love liberty. And loving the idea, we should learn to tenderly and prayerfully handle the embodiment of that idea and nourish it always to greater strength. So here is the invitation. Take conscious action this week to proclaim your freedom. If your values call you to vote, vote. If your values call you to another action, take that action. Be who you are, so big and so bold and so brightly that the universe cannot deny you. Claim your freedom. And so it is. Let's anchor this in with some prayer. How good it is. How good it is to rest in the knowingness that freedom isn't something that anyone has to go out and get, but that it is a naturally occurring state of consciousness that is divinely gifted, that grace has already been given to every sentient being. How good it is to know that we are each at choice to create the world that works for us as individuals and to lean into a world that works collectively for all. That is the vision of Centers for Spiritual Living, and I am a yes for that vision. How good it is to know that the same consciousness, the same divinity that gave us freedom is also giving every being love and wholeness and unity and joy all the time. Every word that was spoken about freedom today could be spoken about any divine quality. All of it is ours to claim and to own. And so I know that that space of divinity is at work right here, right now, on every heart, on every mind, on every soul, meeting the need that each brought into this space. How good it is. And so with a grateful heart, I just say yes, yes, yes. And so it is.